People in Ecuador have voted against drilling for oil in a protected part of the Amazon. It's home to tribes who've chosen to live in isolation, as well as hundreds of species of birds, reptiles and fish. A referendum on the issue has been held alongside Sunday's presidential elections. 60% voted yes to stopping the drilling. It's a blow to the outgoing Ecuadorian president, Guillermo Lasso. He says oil drilling is crucial to the country's economy. Well, the drilling site is now going to have to be closed down. It's located in the Yasuni Nature Reserve in the Amazon. It's regarded as one of the most important biodiverse parts of the planet. Ecuador's government's estimated that stopping the drilling will mean a loss of $16 billion over 20 years. The operation accounts for 12% of Ecuador's crude oil production of 480,000 barrels a day. Our Latin America editor, Lucia Newman, is joining us now from Quito. Climate activists around the world are saying this is very important. What's been happening?
It's actually an extraordinary event. Just remember that less than 2 weeks ago, the heads of state of all of the countries that share the Amazon rainforest, that's 8 countries of South America, were unable to agree on not exploiting oil inside their rainforest. In fact, there was a lot of resistance to that. The president of Ecuador didn't even attend that summit in Belém, Brazil. So what happened in Ecuador is that the people themselves basically grabbed the bull by the horns and insisted upon protecting this very, very unique part of the rainforest, the Yasuni National Park. And not only that, they also held a referendum on preventing or prohibiting mining in the area that's just above where we are right now, in the Chocó region of the Andes Mountains. In both cases, the yes vote won the referendum. That was not expected initially. There was a lot of money used by the campaign for those who wanted it to continue, saying that it was necessary for the Ecuadorian economy. But at the end of the day, 60% of the people of Ecuador believed that preserving this rainforest, the biodiversity, and the people that live in the rainforest was more important.
Yeah, meanwhile, as we were saying, the battle for the presidency of Ecuador is headed for a runoff in mid-October. Voters are going to choose between leftist candidate Luisa González and businessman Daniel Noboa. Lucia, just tell us more about what's been happening and how we got here.
Well, they couldn't be more different. Right now, we're outside a radio station here in Quito, where Luisa González is making her first, shall we say, interview or public address since not winning in the first round. So even though she did win the first round, it was a disappointing result. She only scored about 34% of the votes, not enough to become the president. So therefore, she's going into the second round against a candidate that was the biggest surprise of the whole election. Daniel Noboa is a 35-year-old son of one of the country's richest men. He has very little political experience, but he managed to somehow convince a lot of people in this country, especially young people, that he is the alternative that they need, particularly for providing jobs as well as security, which was the main theme. Luisa González comes from a rather poor family. She was a single mother at the age of 15, and then eventually went on to go to university and become a lawyer, and now a presidential candidate. While Daniel Noboa comes from a very wealthy family. He's studied at Harvard. He is a businessman, as you've already mentioned. So they are different in every way, and politically as well, because Luisa González is left-wing. She represents the Citizens' Revolution Party of former President Rafael Correa, who did very well for a period for this country. And then when the price of oil went down, the economy also plummeted, and the accusations of corruption and abuse of power also soared. He is now living in self-imposed exile in Europe, but he still represents that party. And so Daniel Noboa is, you could call him a conservative, but it's still not very clear what exactly he represents and who will be supporting him or not in this runoff election.
It's a fascinating time in Ecuador's politics. Lucia Newman, our Latin America editor. Thank you very much indeed.